possibility.
I thought it was you, but okay, we'll go both.
That's right, go on.
If there's a possibility that you could get metal detectors in police cars like you do when you walk in a municipal building, if you check out radar or something that you can tell when somebody got a weapon in the possession.
It's been experimented with in other cities. The technology is not good enough, and there's a lot of legal challenges to it from people that are just walking up and down.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
I don't see why, because we go into municipal buildings and we've been checked out, so
Yeah.
what's the difference?
So we look. I want to share with you kind of a disheartening component to what would happen at the end of the year, and then the gun situation overall. So to put in perspective, yeah.
Yeah, but see, maybe if you put that in the paper, if they hear that they're gonna do that, maybe they will cut the crime down. We're not gonna stop it, but if they hear about it, maybe they wouldn't carry the weapon.
So some of these, the challenges that his question was that it could be deterring. Some of these people have grown up in a household where their father went to jail, their uncle went to jail, their grandfather went to jail. They are not scared of going to jail, okay? And that's a reality. We have confiscated in the last year. 2 years ago, we did 180 firearms that we took off the street. These aren't gun buybacks. These are actually finding a gun on a person that was intending to commit a crime. And this year, we're last year 208 or something. 208. So that number is increasing. To put it into further perspective on how this works and the challenges on this thing is that 3 weeks ago, we had a weekend where we had 12 gun arrests, of which out of the 12 gun arrests, 5 were juveniles. Okay, so those sort of things are not going to be deterred because you're having a detector, frankly, you know. And it's like Kevin could talk to you, for instance, our director of recreation. I mean, he could talk to you all day about all the different recreation programs we have. But some of these kids don't want to do that. That's not the choice that they're making ultimately, and that's the challenge for us. You know, so I'm sharing with you some of the challenges. We are broadening the police department. We are changing the bail. We're working on that to be a little bit more stricter on that stuff. We're working on the police academy front. But I want to be honest with you about the challenges that face departments overall, without just saying that, hey, a walking post is going to solve it. One last point on this is that if you ask me about our policing situation in Jersey City in September, end of September this year, I couldn't have been more proud on where we were. And I'll tell you why. And if you ask me now, I'm disheartened over the last 3 months and the difficulty that we had in that little period. We got through the summer with close to record numbers. You could see it there. We felt great about it. And the thing that I felt so great about it is that most police departments in this country, you look at most big cities, when you see a decrease in crime, okay, you also see an increase in complaints against the police department, meaning that those two things generally work adversely. One goes down, one goes up, because sometimes the police department becomes overly aggressive, and that evokes complaints against the police officers. You know you are doing a better job when you see both of those two things declining simultaneously. It means that you are policing more effectively, and there's less complaints against the police department effectively. So through the end of the summer, we felt great about it. Through September, we felt great about it. And then that back and forth ultimately started, and here we are ultimately with how you feel. And that is the biggest challenge for me, because I want you to understand the perception issues, the reality of the situation, and then talk through some of the challenges on where the community could be helpful and the things that we could be doing better, ultimately. This gentleman, I promised him would.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioner Shea. I want to thank the police department and Mr. Kelly for the work that they've done, because I'm on Bergen and Union Street. And because of the work that they've done, the loading on the corner has reduced greatly, and a lot of the crimes in our community has gone down, so I thank you for that. My concern now is, because I'm the media correspondent for the Social Justice Commission, as you know. And what we're trying to do is, because we live in a local area, we're not too far from here. So we hear the sirens all night long, okay? We hear them during the day, but we hear a lot of them during the night. We're really interested in, and I don't know if you can divulge that kind of information to us, freely, but as a social justice commission, and as someone interested in the community, we need to know what the crimes are. What kind of crimes are happening at night? What times are they happening? You know what I mean? And things of that sort. So we can be able to structure our programs to help to resolve them. Because that's what it should be about, because jail is not the answer.
Let's have Lieutenant Booth's address now.
Thank you. Let me just make sure I understand the question correctly. You're interested in the types of crimes that are occurring later in the day, midnight?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Traditionally, history has taught us that more of your violent crimes, more of your victimless crimes, if you will, your shootings, your drug dealing, occur under the cover of dark. This is something that is dealt with across the nation, not just us here. Nighttime is when most of your violent crime has a higher percentage of a chance of occurring. That is why during the midnight tour, we're staffing with officers that have been traditionally working midnights for an extended period of time, including our ceasefire detectives, which is a tremendous unit that was started under this administration, which I would commend them and clap for them if they were here. They're just doing such a tremendous job with the shootings that we've had. They are predominantly a late night, overnight unit. Our patrol officers are oriented towards those violent crimes and trained specifically for those reasons. We like to maintain more of a mobile force on the midnight tour in order to deal with those crimes, a quicker response time. Like the young lady said, it's a resource issue. We need the resources. The walking posts do you more good when you're out, going to work, going to school. That's when the officers need to be there to interact with you, to protect you, to be visible. The midnight tour is when we deal with the upper violent problems. This is when we need predominant mobile patrol, officers on patrol in radio cars that can respond quickly to incidents, detectives supporting them and supplementing them. One of the things that Captain Kelly is extremely big on, anyone who's been to any of our community meetings knows that one of our major concerns is intermingling force and show of officers' uniforms with the intelligence that detectives provide us. Your walking post tonight that I pulled off of West Side Avenue for this meeting, should they be needed to assist, are comprised of one patrol officer and one detective. We're trying to intermingle the two parts of our patrol where we can have an intelligence component. I don't just want two officers out there standing on a corner looking pretty. I want a detective who can supplement information and get it for us. That's something we're trying to do, and we do that predominantly in the later hours of the day to deal with the more violent crimes.
Yeah, I just like
One
to-
more small question, please, to follow up on that. Because apparently, as you've always said, it's going to take the community to help to make this happen. Help us to understand what we can do. Do you know what we live at? You've been to our meetings, both of you have been to our meetings, you all been to our meetings, you know our area. What can we as a community do? What can we take back to our Union Street Block Association, to our Social Justice Commission? What can we take back to tell them that we can do in alliance with you to help to stem some of this?
Okay, so I would start on the tip line and the community being involved in that component. The number of tips is not sufficient today when you look at the balance of what's happening in the city, which means there's a trust gap ultimately that's happening, which we're conscious of and that we are trying our best to get in front of. The only way that that'll change is if there are validators from the community standpoint that gives it a shot and realizes that that trust remains intact on confidentiality. And that is a starting point and a major starting point ultimately, because that trust needs to build, and then ultimately people need to be part of it. They're on CCTV and they see something, they need to be willing to be part of that ultimately. Otherwise, we get less results. That's frankly where we are.
Afraid of safety, you have to put
And
something out
I
there to
agree.
ensure that
Yes.
the guys that live there are not coming back because I saw you speaking to police,
Yeah.
or I know that you left when it said something, so it's a safety issue as well. This is why
Yeah.
the community is not involved.
All these things tie in together. Like she said, it's a safety issue, and ties into what the mayor said before about that these people aren't going to jail. I'll tell you, first on the recent Gratiot shootings, we came out of the summer doing very well. And then three things went against us, okay? State warm, and two very bad people got out of jail, but one in particular who was the human equivalent of the plague virus coming back to Jersey City. I'm sorry, but the man spent his entire life harming other human beings. That's all he did. And he, until somebody killed him while he was trying to rob them. So that's, and he was the main person involved in this. And At the same time, we had all this going on, so it cannot start. Of those gun count, we made 52 gun arrests from the summer on, in a lot in the west and the south. Of those 52, 36 was their second gun arrest. Which means, ties to Lay's point, they're not going to jail. Since they're not going to jail, the community doesn't want to cooperate against them because they're afraid they'll see them a corner later. It all interrelates.
We are working more closely with the prosecutor's office and the judges in order to make that work. But let's just switch for a second here. I see